Welcome to this tutorial for this lovely sunset shells scarf. I found a free pattern on Ravelry. Now I have started this in two different weights of yarn. This is a number 3 weight, and I did this one just in the last little bit with the Brene Satin Sport number 3 weight and a G hook. And you can see how it makes these lovely shells. Okay, now this pattern is worked in multiples of 6 plus 2. Okay, so the pattern shows you how to do 20 chains. So that 6 times 3 is 18 plus 2 is 20. So that's how this one was worked. And this is probably a number 5 bulky, and this one was done with a J hook. Okay, and as you can see, this one is a number 3, and this one was done with a G hook, and you can see the difference in those two hooks. Okay, so whatever weight yarn you choose to use, probably follow the manufacturer's suggested hook size, or to get the size you want. Now, you'll notice that the white one I did here with the Brene Satin Sport is much wider than I did with the home dyed merino wool blend. And the reason I did that was because I wanted a scarf that was a little bit wider, although this is plenty wide, the 20 stitch. So I did this one in 26 stitches. So that 6 times 4 is 24 plus 2 is 26. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started, and I am going to use a standard number 4 worsted weight for this tutorial. Okay, and if you want to go ahead and get your supplies ready, you will need your crochet hook, whatever size goes with the weight of the yarn you're going to use. You'll need a tapestry needle to weave in your ends, and you'll need a pair of scissors. Okay, so with that being said, let me put up these supplies, and I'm going to use an H hook and a worsted weight yarn. And I believe what I am using here, there's no label on it, but I'm pretty darn sure this is one of my mandala yarns, and I'm sorry I don't know what color this is, but I've used a lot of it. As you can see, it's falling apart. The cake is. So we will go ahead and use this for our work today. A number 4 worsted weight, and again I am using an H hook. Okay, so there is the picture of what we're looking for. Sunset Shells Scarf by Noelle Barnes, to follow along with the written pattern. And hopefully my instructions will be such that you will be able to go ahead and make this yourself, and you won't really need to follow the pattern too much. Okay, and so of course she's saying that this scarf is worked across its width rather than the length, and of course you could do it either way you want, but this is so easy. So this pattern suggests a J hook and 2 skeins of Noelle Silk Garden Light. She's not telling me what Noelle Silk Garden Light yarn is, what weight of yarn it is. So we are simply going to use a J hook, and we are going to use a mandala yarn, which can be purchased from Walmart, and it's wonderfully soft and comes in gorgeous variegated colors. I believe Joann's has started carrying some of it, but don't quote me on that. Okay, again, the chain will be in multiples of 6 plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and do it in 20 stitches across because that's what the pattern calls for. Although I like a wider scarf, so if I was doing it for myself, I would do 26 stitches across, which is 24 plus 2. Okay, so go ahead and chain 20. So just make a slip stitch. You just wrap it around your finger like this. Let me move my phone out of the way so it's not creating any issues with you viewing. So you just wrap it around your finger, make an X, stick your hook in, pull the back yarn through, and you've got a slip stitch. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can move your fingers up as you're doing your chain to hold on to it. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Keep your chain the same direction. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so you want all of your chains to be laying flat like that. You can see the little V's. You don't want part of it twisted, okay? You want that chain to all be facing the same direction, okay? So now the directions say to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, okay? So here's the first chain, there's the second chain. So go ahead and go into that stitch, okay? Again, 1, 2. Go into the second chain from the hook and do a single crochet. Go in, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, wrap, and go through both, okay? So that's a single crochet. So now we're going to skip the next 2 chains, 1, 2, okay? And now we're going to do 5 double crochets separated by a chain 1 in this next chain. So wrap, go into that chain, wrap, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, wrap, go through 1, wrap, go through 2, that's a double crochet, chain 1, do another double crochet in that same space, same chain, okay, chain 1, do another double crochet in that same space. And what you're doing right now is you are, oh, let me pull up some yarn here, you are actually creating a shell. So as you can see, we have done 3 double crochets in that space so far, separated by a chain 1, okay? So chain 1, do another double crochet in that same chain space, chain 1, and do your 5th double crochet in that chain space, okay? And then let me show you what this looks like. Okay, see, so we've got this little shell that we've created here, okay? So after we have created that shell, okay, we're going to skip 2 chains and we're going to single crochet in the following chain, okay? So skip the next 2 chains. See if you can see those. There we go. We're going to skip this one and this one, and in this one we're going to put a single crochet. Okay, so just simply go into the chain, grab your loop, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, and go through both, okay? Okay, and so after we have put the single crochet, we're going to repeat from the little asterisk in our directions, which says skip the next 2 chains, okay? So we did the single crochet, and now we're going to skip the next 2 chains, which is 1, 2, okay? In that next chain, we're going to repeat those 5 double crochets separated by a chain 1, okay? So go ahead and put a double crochet in that next chain, chain 1, whoops, chain 1, okay? And when you're on your first row like this, sometimes it's a little awkward to hold onto your work, but you can manage it, okay? Your second double crochet in that chain, chain 1, your third double crochet in that chain, chain 1, your 4th double crochet in that same space, chain 1, and your 5th double crochet will go in that same space, but you don't chain 1 after the 5th one, okay? Again, follow your directions. Make sure your chain is still facing frontwards, still all flat and facing you nicely, okay? And so now you know that you're going to skip the next 2 chains and single crochet in the following one. So we're skipping 1, 2, and putting a single crochet right here, okay? So we simply just go into that chain, pull through, 2 loops on our hook, wrap, and go through both, okay? And again, we just did that single crochet. We are going to skip the next 2 chains, and in the following chain, we're going to do our 5 double crochets separated by a chain 1. So there's our first double crochet in that space. There's a chain 1, our second double crochet in that space, a chain 1, our 3rd double crochet in that space, a chain 1, our 4th double crochet in that space, a chain 1, and our 5th double crochet in that space. Again, we don't put a chain 1 after the 5th one, okay? And then if you remember what the directions say next, we are to skip 2 chains and put a single crochet in the next chain, okay? So we're skipping 2 chains and then putting a single crochet in that last chain, okay? So go ahead and put your single crochet in there. Okay, so now we're going to turn our work, and we are on row 2, and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is what our work looks like so far. Okay, see the shells? Okay, so we've just chained 5, and this counts as a double crochet plus a chain 2. So in other words, 3 of those chains are counted as a double crochet, and the last 2 are counted as a chain 2. Okay, so we're going to skip the next chain 1 space, which is this one right here. Remember, we created these shells with a double crochet and a chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, etc. Okay, so we're going to skip this space right here. We're going to skip this very first space right here. Okay, and then we're going to put a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and we're going to chain 1. We're going to go to the next space, and we're going to put a single crochet. Okay. Okay, and now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the next chain 1 space, this one right here. Okay, and we are going to put a double crochet in the single crochet between those 2 shells. Okay, there we go. We put a double crochet in that single crochet. See that? Okay, now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to repeat from the beginning. So we're going to skip the first chain 1 space and put a single crochet. We're going to skip the first chain 1 space. I'm trying to make sure that you can see where I'm at. Skip this first chain 1 space of your shell, go to the second chain 1 space of your shell, and put a single crochet in there. Chain 1. Go to the next chain 1 space of that shell and put a single crochet in there. Oops, sorry, Freya, you can't be here. Yes, I love you, my dear, but you have to get down. Mommy's recording. Oh, she's so big. Honey, get down. Go on. Go, 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 go. I'm sorry, baby. She's not happy with me. Okay, so we've got our 2 single crochets in those 2 chain 1 spaces, one here and one here. Okay, go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, put a double crochet in the chain in the single crochet that separated the two shells from the previous row. Wrap, go in, grab a loop, 3 loops on your hook, wrap, go through 2, wrap, go through 2, chain 2, 1, 2, skip your first chain 1 space of that shell, go into the second one and put a single crochet, chain 1, go to the next chain 1 space in that shell, put another single crochet, okay, chain 2, 1, 2, and you are going to end with putting a double crochet in your last stitch here, okay? There we go. Now let's take a look at our work and see how the pattern is starting, okay? So there we go. Now go ahead and turn your work. We are on row 3, okay? So on row 3, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to put a single crochet in the double crochet from the previous row. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to skip the chain 2 space, this big space right here. We're going to skip that. And then in the space between these two, can you see this little V right here? That's a single crochet. And remember, there was a chain 1 between and another, see the other V right there? That's another single crochet. So between these 2 single crochets from the previous row, there's a chain 1 space, okay? And we're going to go in there and put a shell. So that is our 5 double crochets. There's 1 double crochet, chain 1, second double crochet, chain 1, third double crochet, sorry, pulling up more yarn, chain 1, fourth double crochet, all in this same chain 1 space, chain 1, and your 5th double crochet. Okay, so as you can see, what we've done is we've just put a shell between these 2 single crochets from the previous row. Okay, all right. Now, per the directions, after you've created that shell, you're going to skip the next chain 2 space, which is this big space right here, and we're simply going to just put a single crochet in the top of that double crochet from the previous row. Okay, and now again we are going to skip the chain 2 space because we're repeating the pattern from the asterisk. So we're skipping the chain 2 space. We're going between these 2 single crochets from the previous row, and we're putting our shell in there, and that is our 5 double crochets separated by chain 1s. There's 1 double crochet. I'm sorry, my yarn. Can you see what my yarn is doing here? Let me see if I can kind of pull it out a little bit. There we go. That might be better. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, there's 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 4 double crochets. My yarn is still in a knot here, and your 5th double crochet. Okay, sorry about this. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, a note to self, edit. And your 5th double crochet. Okay, so can you see how the shell patterns are forming here? Okay, so we've got our shells forming. Okay, and we're not going to chain at this point. We're going to go to the double crochet from the previous row, the top of this double crochet, and we're going to put a single crochet in the top of that double crochet. Okay. Easy peasy. Skip this big chain 2 space, and then between the 2 single crochets of the previous row, go into that space and put a shell. Again, what is a shell? It is 5 double crochets separated by chain 1s. 2, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4, chain 1, and then your 5th one. Oh, this yarn. Sorry, getting a little ticky here. Okay, so we just finished our shell. And now you remember, between the shells, we put a single crochet in the double crochet. Well, we don't have really a double crochet here, but we do have the chain. So in the 3rd chain up, 1, 2, 3, go ahead and put your single crochet in the top of that chain there. Okay. Turn your work. And this is how we look so far, guys. Look at those beautiful shells. Okay, now, after row 3, you're simply, for the entire length of your scarf, you are going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So row 2 says what? Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that counts as a chain, the 3 chains counts as a double crochet plus a chain 2. Okay? And so we're going to skip the next chain 1 space, which is this first one right here, and we're going to put a single crochet in the following chain 1 space, chain 1, and go to the next chain 1 space, which is right here in that shell, and go ahead and put a single crochet right there, chain 2, 1, 2, okay? And now we're going to put a double crochet in the single crochet between the 2 shells from the previous row. Very easy peasy, this pattern, once you get it, okay? Chain 2, 1, 2, okay? Skip the first chain 1 space in this shell. So this is the first one. Go to the second one right here and put a single crochet, chain 1. Go to the next chain 1 space in that shell, put a single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, put a double crochet in the single crochet between the 2 shells from the previous row. Okay, there's your double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the first chain 1 space in the next shell, go to the next chain 1 space, put a single crochet, chain 1, go to the next chain 1 space in that shell, put another single crochet, okay, chain 2, 1, 2, and because we're at the end, this counts as our double crochet here, so go ahead and put a, I'm sorry, this counts as our single crochet here at the end, so go ahead and put a double crochet in the top of that stitch, okay. There we go. And let's take a look at how we're looking so far. Okay, isn't that beautiful? All right, turn your work. And now you're going to repeat row 3. And row 3 says to chain 1, okay, and put a single crochet in the top of the last double crochet that we did from the previous row. So go into that stitch and put a single crochet. Okay? And if you remember, we're going to skip this big chain 2 space. We're going to go between the 2 single crochets from the previous row and go in this space right here. Let me see if I can get my finger in there. Go in that space between the 2 single crochets and put a shell. Okay? So that's 5 double crochets, chain 1. Here's another double crochet, chain 1. Here's number 3 double crochet, chain 1, number 4 double crochet, chain 1, and the 5th, and you do not chain 1 after the 5th. Okay? All right, and now you put a single crochet in the top of the double crochet. You're not chaining at all. You're just simply putting a single crochet there. Okay? And now you're going in between the 2 single crochets from the previous row in this space here, where my fingernail is, and you're putting a shell. So there's 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 4 double crochets, chain 1, 5 double crochets. Okay, and no chain 1 after that. Go to the double crochet from the previous row, the top of that, and put a single crochet in there. Okay, now go to the space between the next 2 single crochets from the previous row, and in this space right here, put a shell. Again, that's 5 double crochets separated by chain 1s. There's 1. Here's your second double crochet, chain 1, third double crochet, chain 1, fourth double crochet, chain 1, and your 5th double crochet, and you do not chain 1 after that 5th double crochet. Okay, and remember our chain from the previous row. Count up 3, 1, 2, 3 in the top of this 3rd chain. Go ahead and put your single crochet. Okay, turn your work. So you just keep repeating rows 2 and 3 to get the desired length of your scarf. I think you're really going to enjoy this pattern because you'll get it in your brain. You know, the 2 rows, just keep repeating, and I think this is going to make a gorgeous scarf. I actually thought this would complement very well the seashell divine swirl hat that I had made previously. So I really hope you enjoy this. I'm not going to sit here and crochet 5 feet of this scarf with you because it's so easy to do. When you get done, you're simply going to slip stitch, pull your yarn through, take your tapestry needle, weave and hide your ends in on both ends of your scarf. If you want to put fringe or tassels or whatever you want on your scarf, you're welcome to do that. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope your scarf comes out lovely. Remember, you are all amazing just as you are. Bye.